Episode of the Everblack Podcast is brought to you by Deathwish, Hotrods and Kustoms. Check out their Instagram for all their new t-shirts, caps, beanies, cups, and the all-new Atomic Death lineup. Well, Monica, thanks for joining us on the show.
I just realized my nose highlight is very it's very what's that reindeer called again? We're just gonna go with it.
Yeah.
I feel very Rudolph right now. I just got ready in a hurry because I got rehearsals after this. But
have you? You're just bam, 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 getting in there.
Yeah,
you want me to edit?
But anyway, I'm so happy to be back. How are you?
Good, mate. Yeah, really, really good. And of course, the Last Martyr, you guys, well, you one of the Last Martyr.
The Last Martyr represent.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Just released your new single Sugar, and it's really heavy, man. I love the aggressive as fuck direction of it. It's awesome.
Thank you. I kind of went into this one wanting to do a song that was 50% screaming. So that was kind of fun. Although when it came to doing it live, I was like, shit, did I overcommit? But it's been good. It's been really well received. So I'm happy with it.
So good. And you sound really good. The scream.
Thank you.
Really, really, obviously you've done bits and pieces over time, but that much. How have you been finding with jamming that live? Have you had to, readjust the old vocals a little bit?
Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of comparing it to how long I've been singing for, I haven't been screaming for all that long. It's really only been since I joined the Last Martyr. And it took me a while to kind of find my voice, I suppose, and the type of scream that suits me. I started off doing Fry because that was kind of just the teacher that I had at the time. That's what they taught me. And Fry, I really love the sound of Fry, except my singing, especially live, is really loud. I belt most of the time live. And I mean, I've always fronted rock and metal bands. So I've kind of, just developed this extremely loud voice. And so it was really difficult for me to not only change the vocal positioning going from belting to Fry, which requires much more finesse, but it was it just didn't really sit right. And so I've changed the way that I scream now, and now that I'm doing this more false chord technique, it feels so much more in alignment with the other stuff that I'm doing. And it's so much more fun. It's a lot more powerful. And I'm every time we record a new song, I get to experiment more, which is always fun.
It's like switching gears, hey. You got to get used to that. Yeah. See, I'm kind of the other way around.
Oh yeah, you start with screaming and then go back to singing.
Yeah, which is my, I just do the death metal thing. I've done it for 20 years. So when I've tried to do the other, it feels foreign to me, if you know what I mean. It's weird changing that. There's someone out there that can probably explain it properly. Some teachers, this is exactly what he's doing wrong. But no, I know it's a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, and you have to, I don't know about you, but it has to be, it's screaming especially is this full body thing. And I don't know what you do for your warm-ups or whatnot, but when I'm backstage and I'm I warm up my voice how I always do, but then I try and do a few screams backstage as well. But if I'm not if I'm feeling a little bit shy or a little bit self-conscious, or I'm not projecting as much, I can't get the right I can't get the right power behind it, in my breath and in my body to actually do it properly. And I need sometimes that adrenaline of being on stage to actually do it properly. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
100%. See, I've just gotten to the point now where it's it's usually I'll be in the bathroom.
Yeah.
People are walking in and out, and I'll be doing the siren, and then you're doing your, and then people are just looking at you and they go, oh yeah, cool.
Is that guy okay? He's really having a hard time in there.
Yeah. It's well, don't call security. I'll be up there in a minute. So just, you get
It's like hard being a vocalist. You just have to find like the quietest, or not even the quietest. You just have to find like a corner that you can kind of just claim. And it was funny, like when we were in the Goldie, like last week, we were sharing that like green room, which I'm sure you've seen, like side of stage with all the bands. There was 4 bands on the bill and all our gear. And it was like kind of good though, because everyone was digital. So I've never seen like so many like racks in my life, like in one spot. And everyone was in there because like we're playing with mostly prog bands. And so everyone was like warming up, like doing all the warm ups and steaming their throat and all the things that you're supposed to do. But like a lot of the time you forget about it. And I literally just like squeezed myself between like an amp and like our rack and the guitars. And I had this like 30 centimeter like little patch of space. And I was like sitting there with a YouTube video just doing my vocal warm-ups, and everyone's just like walking around me. And I was just like, this is hilarious. Like there's so many people in here, but you got to do what you got to do, whether that's like screaming in a bathroom or, not be self-conscious doing your weird vocal warm-ups. It's fine.
It's the hardest. I know. Here's to us, right? Normally, you know what we need? We need somewhere in like even the diviest of dives, just a little room, like a little booth where vocalists can go and warm up.
Yeah, just like
petition.
Yeah. It needs to be a standard thing, right?
Right.
Even if it's like what if we had like a cube that we could put over our head like a Martian, and then it's just soundproofed? And then we could have just like this soundproof box that we just wear on our heads.
That's a really good idea. I know you can buy them for recording, but I don't know about, because they're very expensive. You know what? That's a really good idea. I'm gonna get back to you about that.
You could like flat pack it and just like put it in your suitcase, like travel light, just like put it in your, I don't know, if you have a little like silver case or something. Yeah.
You know what? I think you're onto something. Quick, we need to get this.
EM.
With the province.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, as if we don't look ridiculous enough, but that's fine.
I know, it's just the way we do it. But it's, you know what? It's really cool to see how you guys have, evolved and continue to evolve, over the last couple of years, especially since Purgatory was such a, massive success. Like, it's such a great EP.
Thank you.
And, going in this aggressive direction now, is that what we can expect from more of you? Like, sorry, I'm struggling to put a sentence together after this week. Let me start that one again. Is that what we could expect from the Last Martyr, like, going forward?
I think the one thing that we really like is we like trying things that we haven't tried before. Going into Sugar, I knew that we were in the studio to record 2 songs. So we typically do like 2 at a time sort of thing. And I knew that for myself, like I really wanted to do something that was heavier, but also we've also simplified a lot. So listening to like Sugar and the guitar work and whatnot in there, it's like, I think it sounds bigger because the guitar work is simpler. And the one thing that I'll always do though is I do love like the balance of like the heaviness and the melody. That's just the music that I like. So I think we're always going to have that in the songs, but I don't know about direction. I feel like every time we go into the studio, we just, I don't know, it's really, the goal is like, how weird can we be? What's the new thing that we can try? And that we can like get out of our comfort zone.
Do you think that's like what you guys are sort of listening to and individually, and then bringing it together and just finding new bands?
Yeah, a lot of it. I mean, Ricky and Ben are usually the core songwriters, and everything kind of comes from their nucleus. And so they'll bring demos to the table, and then we'll workshop them in the studio with our producer, who has like access to like way bigger like a library of like sounds that we don't have, and also is like really good in songwriting ideas and stuff. So we'll kind of like workshop it. Like I remember with Hindsight, like that was the first song that Ricky kind of like came in, and it was the first song that he had really contributed to the band since joining. And the bridge of the song was actually originally meant to be the chorus, and then we just ended up like moving that to the bridge and then just rewriting a whole new, like then we had to rewrite a whole new chorus. So it's like we never know the direction that it's going to take. But I think for Ricky and Ben, it definitely goes to like their influences first and what they're listening to more than anything. But yeah, I don't know, it's weird influences, they like creep in there and people are like, oh, that sounds like Poppy, or that sounds like Corn, and you're like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
It's gonna have that big mixed bag of different stuff,
Yeah,
the interest. And that's what there was stuff in Sugar that I heard that I was like, oh, that reminds me of like this video game, or it reminds me of this. There was so much going on, like little bits and pieces, and I'm still trying to work it out, but it's really, really cool.
it's good though. I like I want people to listen to it and kind of notice something different every time they listen to one of our songs. So I love hearing that, like that you notice those sorts of things.
Yeah. I'm still trying to work it out. Like there's a sound in there that I'll have to get back to you about it, because it's
let us know.
It's been bugging me. I'm like, oh, this sound reminds me of this in this video game, and I can't quite pick it.
Is it like a high pitched like?
Kinda.
Yeah.
I'll get back to you about that one. I'll figure it out one day, and I'll be like,
yeah. You'll like jump up right at like 4 a.m. one morning. You'll be like, the Last Martyr.
That's when it'll get me.
Yeah.
But of course, lyrically, the song for me personally and many other people, it's very relatable in themes of mental health and dealing with anxiety and depression through SSRIs, if that's how you say it. I'm used to just saying medication, obviously, but
yeah, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand going through that must have been quite difficult, being someone that's gone through that themselves and then putting that through your art. Like how was it tackling that for you?
Yeah, I mean, extremely vulnerable. I think like there's still a stigma around mental health, and it's interesting because like whenever my friends come to me with like their mental health struggles or whatnot, of course I'm supportive, but when it's yourself, it's always going to be harder to admit that you have certain struggles. And like I've definitely struggled with mental health my whole life, and I think it's like one of the burdens as well of being an artist. Like I don't want to write it into my history or anything, but especially for that song, when I did decide to go on like anti-anxiety medication, antidepressants, they like absolutely helped me, and I was so glad that I made that decision. I'd been on them before, but in this particular instance I was like, no, like I can get on top of this, but I really needed something to break the cycle in my brain, and it worked, and it was great. And then I realized about 6 to 9 months in, I was starting to feel kind of numb, like I was handling the world so much better, but and I wasn't feeling those low lows or like the extreme anxiety, of course, anymore. But then I started to realize that I was feeling super apathetic to like people that I loved and, any like positive things that were happening in my life. And I was like, what the hell? Like, what's going on here? And it took me a while to cotton onto it. And I was just so confused. And then I realized it was because of like the medication that I was on, and that was a symptom. And I never heard anyone talk about that before. It makes total sense now because, I mean, that's what they do, right? They level you out, but until I experienced it, I don't think I had really a grasp because I'd never heard anyone else talk about it. So I was like, well, I'll just write a song about it, and then like maybe other people can relate to it or feel less alone. So I hope it has.
Have you had people contact you?
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, nice.
Yes, and I think it's nice because it kind of opens this dialogue that a lot of us are, we don't really have the platforms to speak about, or maybe like we wouldn't have talked about it unless like, we're discussing like the song or whatever. So I think that that's really nice. And it's something that's going to like, that song will be around on the internet, hopefully forever. So it's something that I can kind of just like put out there, and at least I have shared something through my art, which is always kind of the goal. But yeah, I actually wrote a completely different set of lyrics for that song, and I'm so glad it ended up being this instead of something completely random that I had written this song about initially.
You know, I was always worried with you know, the medication that I would lose creativity. You know, what I mean? That's that tap, and I've tried so many different ones over the years, different results, but that was always my biggest fear, was the one that was going to work was also the one that was going to turn the tap off, you know. And yeah, it's such a it's tricky, man, you know, trying to balance all that out. So
yeah, but on the flip side, it's like sometimes we force ourselves to be miserable so that we can be more creative.
yes,
And it's like, what's more productive, you know? Like I can think of so many scenarios in my life where I've stayed in situations that were bad for me because I wanted the content, and I was just like, oh, this is like great, like this is great autobiography material, but like you know, eventually that kind of wears you down, and it's kind of like you'd rather be happy. And at the end of the day, like I believe creativity is limitless. It's just a matter of like, I don't know, like there's always like things that we can do to spark creativity, but it's just not worth being miserable for.
that's right. No, 100%. And that's something I had to figure out was, you know, I needed to just not worry about that, because it's true. Because I hear a lot of interviews with a lot of guys that are, you know, they get sober. You know what I mean? They thought without booze and substances they couldn't write, and then they turn around and go, oh man, no, like it's all bullshit. Like I'm writing better now than what I was when I was, you know, off my chops. So it's you know, it's possible. So
yeah, I guess it's that whole like glorified, like tormented artist, starving artist sort of mentality that we all probably glorified. But I mean, like if Motley Crue can do it and write like Kickstart My Heart after they all got sober, then they're gonna be fine.
That's it. Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. But you know, of course, you got a release party coming up on September 10 in Melbourne at Stay Gold, and that's with Invanity. Is it Invanity?
Yep.
And Ironstone and Rin Rin, if that's she fascinates me.
Oh my gosh.
Just figured out. I'm like, who is this? Like, how'd you discover Rin Rin?
Yeah, I discovered Rin Rin through our agent Jaden, and he's like a human encyclopedia of like up and coming artists. And so he's like, oh yeah, like Rin Rin this, Rin, like, and I'm like, oh yeah, Rin Rin. I'm like madly Googling who the hell that is. So yeah, she's only recently come into my sphere, and I'm so glad because I've only heard like a couple of songs so far, but I think it's going to be one where I'm going to like spend some time diving into what she's released, because I think it's really different and it's really fresh, and it reminds me a lot of like kind of what Pale Dusk is doing and baby metal, and but like in your own way sort of thing. Yeah, I'm just like, I'm actually just excited to see her live.
Yeah, me too. Because would you ever like want to like do a collaboration or something like that? That'd be mad. Like
that would be sick.
Insane. I know.
Yes.
I thought that. I was like, oh, I want to saw the post of it.
Oh my gosh. I actually, yeah, like I'm going to be hanging out with her at Big Sound because we've got the Destroy All Line showcase on Tuesday. So I'll get to like meet her and everything. But yeah, I'm going to lock that away in the back of my mind because that would be so sick.
Be amazing. That'd be so cool.
Yeah.
Oh man. Hopefully one day you can do a big tour.
Yeah.
That'd be cool too.
What, like us and Rin Rin? Yes, that would be like fucking sick.
So sick. So sick.
It's hard because she's from Perth as well. So that's kind of why like it was so perfect that we could have her on the Sugar launch party, because she was already on the East Coast. So it's like, okay, well, you're already this side of Australia and you might as well make the most out of it by coming down to Melbourne and playing for people here, because I know so many people would vibe her stuff. So that's what she's going to do before she goes home.
That's awesome. That is so cool. And like you recently played with Sunk Loto. And
yes.
Like I used to go to school with a couple of those dudes up here. So it's like
everyone went to school with them. Like
how many schools do you boys go to? Fuck. But,
like literally I met so many like people at those shows, and because we did 3 shows with them, right? And everyone was just like, oh yeah, like I went to school with Luke, I went to school with him, like actually was in a band with him in high school. And I'm like, what? Like how big was this school? Because like everyone I know, and now you're saying it, I'm just like, wow, this is hilarious.
Luke and Sean at Kuma Bar. I remember like Luke just jamming on some bungle and stuff at school. You know, acoustic and gravity. Yeah, back in the day.
Yeah,
but
they were lovely. They were so lovely. Like Luke came up to us after, because we played Moe's Tavern and the stage is quite small there, like you can't move. And of course, like being a support, all the supports were playing the drum kit that was set up like in front of their drum kit, just to make it easier. Everything was all set up and stuff. And so anyway, and that's like, it's so normal, right? And we're just like, you know, we're just the support band, so we're just like happy to be there, of course. And then Luke comes up to us after and he's like, oh man, so sorry that you had to like play like in such a small stage with the drum kit in front. We're like, oh, like not at all, like that's so fine. And then like after the Brisbane show, Luke was like, oh, like how did everyone, you know, how are the fans? Like, did people get into you? And we're like, yeah, they seem to get into it. And he was like, good. And he was just so nice and supportive. It was amazing.
Oh, Luke. He's a good dude. He's a real good dude. But mate, that's, you know, were you a fan?
So I think they were a little bit before my time, but my guitarist and my bass player definitely are fans. And so I think like it took Ben like a couple of days to recover from shock. Like once we got the news that we were supporting them, like we knew we were being pitched for it, but we didn't know if we were getting it or not. So yeah, it's really nice when those sorts of things happened. And like they played so, like they were so tight as a band. I could not believe that they'd been on hiatus for 15 years. Like it was insane. And the crowd was going absolutely nuts for them too. So it was really, really cool to be there.
Man, I'll tell you what, like, yeah, I used to see him back in the day. And I know like Dan, my mate Dan, who from Everblack, a photographer, he's like the maddest Loto fan. He went to all those and like.
Oh, Dan. Oh, I loved his photos. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we've posted a few of them on socials.
Yeah, Dan Maynard.
Oh, yeah.
Dan. He's the maddest Loto fan. Like squeal. Like
I love it.
I'm calling him out now when he's like, oh my God. But yeah. I'm calling you out, Dan. But
yeah, it was like seriously my favorite photos, and I think all of our favorite photos from that whole run was the photos that Dan took for Everblack. So
thank you. I'm gonna show him that.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at what he does. He is very, very good.
Like, I just like, can you tell that Last Martyr band to stop bloody tagging me? I'm getting too many notifications because we've honestly shared so many photos.
Nah, he loves it. He'll actually appreciate that you said that. But of course, I mean, you mentioned before you're going to be up here this week. Well, when this goes up,
next week.
Well, time travel.
For the time of this recording,
Big Sound, which goes for the week, which is huge. And you said you're doing a showcase on Tuesday night.
Yeah, so we've got 3 showcases. So normally with Big Sound, if you get selected, you get 2 showcases. But we're lucky enough to be able to do a third one, which is just a kind of like a side showcase that our agencies set up. So we're playing twice on the Tuesday, once on the Wednesday. And I was so glad that we were playing Tuesday, Wednesday, because it means Thursday we can kind of let loose a little bit.
Yeah, nice.
So Big Sound's something that I've been wanting to play ever since I like found out what it is. Like when I started like working as a journalist and stuff, I went in 2017, and I remember like Polaris and Drown the City and Pagan and The Beautiful Monument. So many amazing bands got their start kind of by playing, and I was just like, I want to play this one day. So it feels like a long time coming.
Yeah. Oh man, you're gonna have a good week. I've never been, even if it's just Brisbane up the road.
No way.
No, I've never ever been to Big Sound, and I've got to get out more. But,
it's free on Tuesday. Come to the Dal one because you don't need a Big Sound pass. It's like free entry for anyone.
Oh wow, well, that's cool.
It's like Tuesday at 4 o'clock. We're playing. It's at the Black Bear Lodge. So I don't know if you're free or not, but
if I can escape my work, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Just take a quick like 3.5 hour lunch break.
Right.
Drive to Brizzy, see a half-hour set, and drive back.
I'll just say to my boss, I'll say, Richard, you go, what? I'll go, take in the mail. Been gone like 2 days. And I'll be like,
Yeah. Oh, that Australia Post, man.
Yeah, I know.
Every time.
Yeah, got loose. Yeah, good times. Yeah. Were you at Big House or photos? Yeah, sorry, man. But,
yeah, that's where the closest Australia Post was, though. So it all works out.
All that way. Right past 20 of them. But you've also
hand delivering it to clients. I don't know. I've taken the joke too far. I'm sorry.
No. This is me all the time.
Now I'm gonna wake up at 4 o'clock and be like, oh, I had something else to add.
Yeah, you'll be like video games. But yeah. Yeah, but you've had a really good year so far. And it's more on the way. Like who else did you play with? I had it here somewhere. You played with
Blacklight Brides.
Massive. That was sold out, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's sold out in the end. We did Sydney at the Roundhouse, which was like crazy. I'm originally from Sydney, so I've seen many bands at the Roundhouse. And then we literally had to like leave at 5 a.m. the next morning and get back to Melbourne for an afternoon show. We're playing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we did a night, that was an all ages show. And then we played them again for the 18 plus in Melbourne at the Croxton. So that was crazy. I mean, so, you know, that was kind of like my sunk Lotto. It was like supporting Blacklight Brides. Yeah, I've been a big fan of them for ages. And just to see like how tight they were live and how professional everything was, and to have that experience was like really cool. It was also the first time we had like a proper dressing room. So like, you know, no like weird vocal box helmet needed on that occasion. And it was so funny because like when we rocked up, like it was like pouring with rain, and we got this phone call like on the way there, and from like one of the organizers, and they were like, where are you? And we're like, oh, like we're like half an hour away. And he's like, well, you know, you meant to be here. And we're like, no, actually, like we're here like on time according to the worksheet. And then we arrived, and we kind of just like got yelled at straight away. And then we went, but then we got like shown to this like green room, and like with these like 2 like massive like platters of like all these like fruits and vegetables, and then like Twix bars, because we have Twix bars on our rider, but we like we never really expect to get them. But there was this like piled high like Twix bar thing. So it was this weird like juxtaposition of like, oh, I don't know, like if we're like worthy of being here, because like we obviously like, I don't know, we got in trouble even though we didn't actually do anything wrong, and the guy was just like, my bad. But then we got shown to this like massive green room, and it was this weird like imposter syndrome moment of like, we don't know what we're doing. Thankfully, like, I mean, but it was good though. Like once we got on stage, like we felt so comfortable on, you know, it was probably like the biggest stage that we've played, and like the audience were just so amazing, and like so like they were so vocal and like really getting into it and stuff, which was nice. So, but it's, yeah, I just love that story so much, because I think like it was definitely like a milestone show for us, and it was so nerve-wracking, just like just being kind of like the opening act. But I was more nervous. Yeah, I was more nervous like sitting in the green room than playing on stage, which is kind of funny.
Trap. The Twix are a trap.
Yeah, the Twix trap.
Yeah.
They call it.
Yeah. But man, Zoom's doing that thing. It does this thing now where it times you. It's like, time up. But I've got so much like, I hate it when it does that. But you know, of course, you've got the Bones tour coming up as well, which I think is really important as well.
Well, we've actually just finished that.
Is that finished?
Yeah, we just finished it like literally last week.
Oh, I thought it was coming up.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But that was really good. Like the Bones show, like it was for the Bones Alternative Queer Party tour. It's the first time they've actually done a tour up the East Coast. And yeah, like it was really nice to play that, because Obviously having like an inclusive space for like the queer community that also are into like heavy music is so important. And even just like as a woman, like being in that space, like it was so nice just to know that like everything felt like safe and comfortable, and like I felt respected and stuff, which is like, you know, not really a problem that I felt like not having, like I usually am, like things are a lot better nowadays than when I first started like getting into music, but still it's nice to just be surrounded by that community and everything. And also like what was cool was they had like drag queens and burlesque, and it wasn't just bands, so it was like this whole event, and yeah, it was just like so much fun to play. So I hope they keep going with that. It was really fun.
I think that's super important, and that's really cool. And you know, maybe if I wasn't months behind, I would actually know that it happened. So that's me. We've
got a lot of shows to be fair. So
yeah, I know, but it's true. As I said, you're cramming a lot into this year. You've even got Froth and Fury coming up too, Jason North.
I've never been to Adelaide. I'm so excited.
Really?
Never played a show there, never been there to visit. So I think this is like the perfect excuse. I actually was meant to go there. We were meant to play a show there back in April, but that didn't happen. I've actually got a flight credit. So the boys are going to have to like schlump it and drive, and I'm going to fly there like, you know, like a boss.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to drive back with them though, so I can't be too cocky about it.
So yeah, at least, but you're going down in style, you know.
Yeah.
Back and wonder what the boys are doing now, you know.
Yeah. Hopefully they're not broken down and I have to do an a cappella set.
No, I think this is knock on that. But yeah. No. Yeah, good old flight credit. I've still got flight credit from Download a couple of years ago. I'm going to use that we're going to fly down and play Frankie's at some stage, I think.
Oh, nice.
So I don't think it's been so I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but that's okay.
You've got the inside scoop, the exclusive.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. I think it's still in the talk, so maybe I'll edit that in. But that'll be a good one. That's with like Ailstorm and man, all the Brutals.
Yeah, Void of Vision and Voyager. There's a lot of amazing bands on that bill. It's like really eclectic too, which I love. There's a lot of different like subgenres of metal, which I think is really nice. So yeah, I'm very, very excited about it.
Oh man, I'm jealous. I wish we need one of those up here. We need something.
That'll be good.
Yeah, we need a big Brutal festival up here.
Yeah. Well, Scorched Fest is one that we are doing up there. So we've got Scorched Brisbane on the 28th of October, and then Scorched at Vinnie's Dive Bar, Gold Coast on the 29th of October. So and there's a slightly different lineup. Bellhaven are playing both. We're playing both. But then on the Gold Coast, it's like In Eyes, and yeah, a couple of other bands. So it should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, just your calendar must be just chockers. It's like so much cool stuff going on.
Yeah, it's like my suitcase is just perpetually packed at the moment. I'm trying to figure out how to get my mic stand to Brisbane next week, because I never usually bring my mic stand on tour, but it's become, I never get like a straight up and down mic stand at any of the shows. Like they're always like the pronged ones. And like I've started like, I don't know, I feel like my mic stand's like an extension of me now. So I need to like figure out how to pack that in my suitcase somehow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I've got one that goes, yeah, no, that's a good question. Has it got lights and stuff, or is it just a straight up?
Yeah, that's why I want to bring it, because I've like hooked it up with lights and everything, but I'm gonna have to take them all off and redo it, because yeah, on tour when I've tried to bring my mic stand in the car, the lights have just ripped off. So yeah,
man,
tour life. Destroying everything.
A postage tube, will it fit in a big postage tube?
Oh yeah, and then I could put the bass in my suitcase.
Yeah,
that's actually such a good idea.
Carry on. Yeah. And then you can whack people over the head with it if they try and like steal the window seat in the point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we keep getting duct tape confiscated from us because we keep forgetting that you're not supposed to put it in carry-on.
What?
Oh man,
duct tape.
We've lost like so much duct tape to Virgin Airlines or Melbourne Airport, actually.
Wow, they've just got like one of those big trolleys, those big trays, and it's just got the Last Martyr duct tape, and it's just all your duct tape. They're just going to keep stealing it for no reason.
Yeah. We got it confiscated, and then you know, I gave my duct tape because I always like steal the boys, and I was like, I'm gonna be a good vocalist and buy my own duct tape. I know, like, I'm amazing. Gave it to Ricky, hadn't even used it, hadn't even opened it. Ricky puts it down somewhere, and I'm like, hey, where's that duct tape? He's like, I don't know. So, anyway, he bought us all duct tape, and on the way back from Queensland, we just see Ben get like hauled up by security, which he usually does for some reason. And he just like sadly like hands over this bright yellow duct tape that Ricky had just bought in that we only used for like one show. And he's like, there goes another one.
No.
Yeah. It's these unforeseen costs in touring, like people don't understand.
Oh, there's heaps. Too many costs. But mate, Zoom's about to give us the boot, unfortunately. I hate how they do that now. But it's been an absolute pleasure again hanging out with you. We're going to have all the links down in the show notes down here. You go kick some ass at Big Sound, and we will see you very soon. We'll have all the dates and stuff. So I'm going to catch you on the Gold Coast next time. I promise.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. Thank you so much for the chat again. It was great. I hope people enjoy us talking shit for 45 minutes.
It's what we do. It's what we do.